Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. In Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, the JP version, we're coming up on the end of the first part of the 4th anniversary. So I thought I would sort of show my progress, and then at the end of the video, we'll look at the 4 Hatcher monsters, and then think about how to use them, how to equip them, that kind of thing. But first, let's look at my clear of the top difficulty level of Siren Tower. This is a limited time exploration. And then if you go through these, you can unlock limited time weapons for those 4 Esper team-up characters. We want a magic tank with a dark and water resistance, and then maybe a provoke tank, and then some chainers and some healers, of course. So yeah, this is the final tower. There's like 3 or 4 before this, but we pick up the crafting materials every floor so that we can create the new weapons. And then as you can see, I'm running away from the little guys with Shadow. And Shadow's been one of my favorite characters lately, even as a 6-star. But way back in the day, I used to like to use Noctis as a evade provoke tank. And then Shadow can do that too. As a 6-star, he has the 20% natural evade. As a 7-star, he has 40%, but 20 works for me here. And I just have him escape from all of the little guys. And then once we get to the boss, we can provoke with the evade. And then he has some chaining as well, but I'm not going to use him for that in here. And then Charlotte is my magic tank. You can't really see her because the sprites on the Akstar is so big. But she has the water and dark resistance. Lena's my healer. Made sure to give her sleep resistance. And then the Akstar plus Ashida, and then the A2. They're supposed to be my chainers. But just in my friends list, I saw another Akstar / Ashida, so I put him in there too. The boss will buff itself, so we can dispel. I can do that with Shadow or with Lena, and then with my chainers, attack. These chainers are going to use a lot of MP as they attack, so with my tank or my healer, I can restore the MP. Okay, nice damage there. I think we'll just skip to the end of the battle. That's basically how it goes. Almost get it taking no damage from the boss, so... Okay, and then the final hit. Let's finish with Akstar's Limit Break, which is very strong. And very cool. It's cool to see Akstar with 6 arms, 6 swords going in there. Alright, and then in the end, we get the recipe for the upgraded Rain's Saber, and then that bottom one there, it's like a water resistance plus 20%, plus a little bit more stats, so I'm still low-ish on elemental resist, so it's nice to have that. Okay, but here we are at the main screen. First, I guess I can show you what's in the vortex. So this is the event thing where you play many times, and then you get orbs and coins so that you can buy the weapons and things. Here I got up to 60,000, so yeah, I got select tickets, a bunch of other stuff. I never attempted this high-level fight. I didn't feel like I needed the rewards here. And then let's look at the King Mog. So the middle one here, this is where I trade in those orbs for things. So the first 4, I got those 4 items. This is their lesser version, but if you beat the Siren Tower, you can get the recipes and then get the upgraded versions, which I'll show you in a second. Also got the empty Trust Moogle, the regular Trust Moogles, attack pots, cactars, and then a bunch of these awakening materials. So that's how that is looking. Was there anything else in here I wanted to show? No, not really. Okay. Okay, next, let's look at the weapons in particular that I crafted using the materials I got from the Sirens Tower. So first here is Soul. And then this is the True Diablos Rod. 124 magic, that's not bad. And then if you set the Diablos Esper in addition to this rod, you'll get more stats up 30%, so that's pretty cool. Next one is the True Inferno Saber. It's a two-handed weapon, 165 attack with the fire element, so that's one of my best swords right now. Good for Rain, of course, but I could also use it on A2. She likes the two-handed greatswords. And then if you set this with Ifrit, that's status up 50%, so that's pretty good. Next up is Fina's bow. This is magic 140, two-handed, attack 79, light element. So maybe decent for another character to use as an attacking weapon to get the double-handed multiplier with the light element. But mostly we're going to use it with magic users that can use bows. And then the skill here, if you set it with Bahamut, you get the status up 30%. Okay, and then finally is this katana for Akstar. Two-handed, 145 attack. And then the skill is, if set with the Ashura Esper, you get 30% stats up. So yeah, that's pretty good for me because I'm still kind of early in the game. I don't have a lot of good weapons. And then with these, I don't need to pursue Super Trust Masters as much. But to talk about my results from pulling the Hatcher, which was this one here, I put up one video of my pulls there. In all, I did about 200 pulls, I think. I did exactly enough so I could get enough tickets to pull this guy twice, which will give me a guaranteed featured character. And then I ended up with 6 of Soul here, 3 of Akstar, 3 of Fina, and then 2 of Rain. And then the Rain I got on the very, very last pull, like this guaranteed ticket here. So I did get the complete set, so that's cool. I only got the Super Trust Master of Soul, but I figure that in the future I can use Super Trust Master Mughals on the other 3 characters to get their Super Trust Masters. I do have the 3rd copies of Akstar and Fina. I'm debating if I want to hang on to them, or if I want to fuse them into the 7-star forms that I have now to get those 50% Trust Mughals, but haven't decided on that yet. Okay, and then finally, let's talk about the workings of each character. I guess we'll start with Akstar. And he's a chainer, of course, but he might be more simple than his regular Akstar version, which is cool. And then he is I think it's an absolute mirror of equity chainer. All of his chaining skills do that. And then he has 3 elements that he can self-imbue. He's got the fire, and then the ice, and the dark, so that's kind of cool. And then he has the double cast, usually, but once in a while you can get the triple cast. I think his Trust Master ability, you can get that on the first turn, so that's nice. And then there is a cooldown skill. No, not this one. This one here. This is the Ashura's Face, or Ashura's Mask, available on turn 1. And then if you use this, you will get the triple cast. You'll raise your Man-Eater Slayer by 200%, and then you also upgrade all of your chaining abilities. So probably first turn you want to use this, and then you can use this as part of your triple cast. So you can cast this, and then maybe 2 chaining skills, and then get some good damage in there. He is a true double-hand character, so you want to give him a 2-handed weapon, of course. And then I think he has 200% passive, including all of his other stuff. So you only need to give him 100% double hand, and then he'll get up to the max 300. He has lots of Man-Eater Slayers, so you want to use him mostly against man-type bosses, which there are a lot. But he can still do well against other bosses, I guess. But yeah, not nearly as much damage. But, you know, if you needed the fire, ice, or dark element, he could work for you there. Maybe a downside to Akstar is that his defense and his HP are kind of low, so you want to make sure that your other defenses are very good in his team. Maybe another weakness of this Akstar here is that he gets a lot more status buffs when he's equipped with the Ashura Esper. But if he needs Slayers from another Esper, like Ifrit or Diablos or something, he can't take advantage of those, so... Yeah, maybe not ideal, but I don't know. Maybe things will change once the 3-star of Ashura is released. Okay, then finally, let's look at the Trustmaster. Ashura's Synergy. Let's see, gives you immunity to Confusion, raises your Man-Eater even higher, and then 60% attack with a Katana, so that's pretty good. And then Super Trustmaster, this is very crazy. Two-handed Katana, 188 attack, and then 50% attack. So very, very crazy Super Trustmaster. I'd like to get that. And then, finally, maybe the #1 reason to use Akstar is for his Limit Break, which is very strong. It does like 20 hits, and hits everybody, and ignores defense by 50%, so very, very strong. And then he has a cooldown skill, which will make it even better. This one here. Gives himself 50% damage reduction, 5 images to kind of escape from physical attacks, and then raises the limit burst damage by 250%. So if you can, you definitely want to use that. And if you can use 2 of them, chain that together, that would be a crazy chain, crazy damage. Okay, next, let's look at Rain and Ifrit. Him too, he's also a pretty straightforward chainer. He has more of the Earth Rave chains, which I kind of find hard to chain, but maybe I just need more practice. He has kind of more access to triple cast than Akstar, maybe. But him too, he has cooldown skills. This one you can use first turn. It gives a self buff of 250%, reduces the chance of the attack down, status effect, and then gives him triple saber. And then he too has self-imbue. He can do either fire or earth, so that's pretty nice. And he too is also a true double hand character, so... And I think his Limit Break would be available the very first turn, so you might want to use that, because I think that's his best skill to imperil fire. That will do it for 120%. And then the Limit Break will also do fire damage, so... I think of Rain's abilities, however, maybe this is not the most damaging thing. And then even at level 1, it'll still do the max 120% fire imperil. So maybe use his Limit Break just to imperil the enemy, and then use his regular chaining skills later turns to do damage. Okay, and then we'll look at his Trustmaster, Ifrit Synergy. Fire resistance 30%. Increases the number of limit break crystals he gets per turn, and then 50% attack up with a greatsword. And then Super Trustmaster, these are clothes, attack 54, defense 38, 50% fire resistance, and then greater Slayer against beasts. And I feel like he had one more type of Slayer. Let's see, beast, plants, I think, as well. So yeah, you can choose between Rain and Akstar if you have the choice, depending on what kind of Slayer you need for the fight. Okay, next, let's look at Soul. And then he is a magic damage dealer, magic chainer. He has the new Lizard chains, and then he can do that with fire or dark. But he also has the Chaos Wave chains, so he can be pretty versatile, I think. Old chaining partners and new chaining partners. He wants to be paired with the Diablos Esper, which works, gives him more Man-Eater, and then Demon Slayer as well. And then he also has just passives in himself as well for those. He can also break Spirit. He can double and triple cast out of the gate. but he also has access to quadruple cast from his cooldown skills, so that's pretty crazy. This also will imperil dark and fire, so pretty good. Pretty self-contained character. And then for magic, he has Dispelga, that's super useful. He has Holy, which can be nice, for using the light damage missions or finishing with magic, because it's a very slow magic spell. Same thing for Ultima here. And then he has Reflect, which is a pretty rare magic spell. So happy that he has that. Okay, and then looking at his Trustmaster, you see that I don't have this Trustmaster because I kind of feel like he doesn't have good synergy with himself with this. But it's an accessory, and then it gives him a 50% magic up, and then 25% Demon Slayer. He is a true double hand or true dual wield magic user. So you can give him a dual wield and 2 rods, or like just 1 rod, and then he'll get bonuses from those. But you want flat magic values from your equipment, so his Trustmaster actually doesn't have good synergy with himself, which is why I haven't gotten it yet. Thankfully I got many of him so I could get his Super Trustmaster, which is a magic 60% up, dark resistance 80% up. So I can use that instead. But I have access to 2 7-star souls, so I could use them together and then chain. If I did do that, maybe in that case I would get the Trustmaster after all, but for now, no. Okay, and then last is Fina. She's maybe the most interesting. I think she could be a decent sub-healer. She has all of the basics for a healer. So Raise 2, Esinaga, Dispelga, Re-Raise, and Curaja. So yeah, all the basics that you need for a healer. She also has the double cast. But she doesn't have anything kind of really beyond that. No HP barriers, no damage reduction, no element resistance up, no status debuff removal or prevention or anything. So all that kind of specialty stuff she doesn't really have. But more than a healer, she is a damage dealer, a magic damage dealer. She focuses particularly in light and dark damage, and then she also has the Lizard Chains, so she can maybe be a good partner with Soul. But she also has some summoning things, so like Manatopia here, or Divine Veil. They will raise your summon gauge as you do other stuff, like raise your element resistance or restore MP or stuff like that. So yeah, she's kind of versatile. And then she does want to summon Bahamut for damage because she gets buffs to that as well. I think if you're really careful, you could make her your main healer on your team if all of your other characters, like your support characters, are giving buffs or damage mitigation or something. Or you could have her be mainly an attacker and then be a sub-healer to support your main healer. So Fina, she could do like just the basic Curaja and the Re-Raise, while your main healer is doing more specialized stuff. The thing about Fina, though, is that her spirit never gets very high. She's more of a magic-based character. So like her Curaja is not going to do as much healing as a dedicated healer. Alright, but finally, let's look at her Trustmaster, Bahamut Synergy, magic up 40%. When you're equipped with Bahamut, you get the stats 30% up, and then fills the summon gauge every turn, so that's pretty good. And Super Trustmaster, it's another two-handed bow, 112 attack, 178 magic. I guess this doesn't have the light element, so that other bow might be better for attackers if you want to use it for that. And then, again, stats up if you use Bahamut. Oh, and I forgot to talk about the limit break of the last few characters, but Fina here, she'll do a non-elemental magic attack on everybody, fill the summon gauge to full, so that's pretty cool, raise her own magic. And let's see, Soul, magic damage, raises the amount of limit break crystals. So yeah, I was very lucky to get all of these characters And then I'm happy that I also went through and I did the grinding in order to get their weapons for each guy. Okay, so I think coming up next we have the second part of the 4th anniversary, and then maybe I'll do a video about kind of an overview about that. Okay, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.